Alexandria Barnes here. So I got your work that you would like me to take a look before you submit, I guess, on Sunday night. There was an email that came, right? So let's take a look what exactly you are asking me. So auto for week 3, yes. In Here in portfolio 4, 5, 6, and 7, in um, for milestone 3, we are kind of expecting to be in auto simply because, as you already realized, uh, it's better sooner than later to start dealing with the curves in the graph editor because there is a lots of stuff to be done once when you get all in betweens, because there is many things that can go wrong, simply timing wise, or some wrong rotations, or all kind of stuff. So it's better to start sooner than wait for last week to deal with that kind of stuff, because first week is blocking, second one is still in step not blocking but animating, really animating, adding all keys and breakdowns. And then once when you have breakdowns and keys, there is really nothing else to do but switch to auto to see how actually it works. And if there is any need for it, you can switch back to step and maybe animate a little bit more if you prefer that, but then switching back to auto and dealing with the stuff that with the possible problems. All right, so yes, I mean, I noticed that you've been working on your stuff, and actually I think it looks it's good. You worked on small character. You had a problem with the rotations, so I think we can take a look at that on the big one, right? There actually is quicker way. I mean, the graphic editor is really it's almost perfect tool, because once when you understand how to deal with those curves, with those all bunch of lines and those spaghettis in a graph editor, once when you understand it, basically you have a control of your character 100%. So it's really good tool, but I can also see how for a beginner it can be confusing, because trust me, I was there. Because when I had to switch from through 2D, where I was using for 2 decades only pencil and paper, and I had to learn Maya, that was probably one of the biggest problems, actually, how to control my character through graph editor. But trust me, once when you get it into it, kind of master it, you almost can animate with graph editor your characters, moving them and controlling them. So it is a really great tool. Well, about this timing when a small guy is swinging his axe for first time, this is something that you'll have to try probably a few things, because definitely I can see that you feel that he's supposed to be a little bit slower before he actually goes for it, right? And timing wise, that would work also very well, because the speed shouldn't be all the time the same. Otherwise, then if you have time, I mean, if you have a speed fast all the time, it's even timing. If it's slow all the time, it's again even timing. And even timing is something that we're always trying to avoid in animation, because in the nature nothing really moves with the even timing. So there is always some kind of faster and slower speeds, always some slowing in, slowing down, getting faster, getting slower. That is like a tapestry, it's like a tempo. Yeah, it's like a tempo in a music, it goes faster, then goes slower, goes faster, and it's almost dies down, and then picks up, and that kind of stuff. All right, so let's start with dealing with your stuff. let's take a look at your playlist. Okay, this is your playlist. Now I have to say this. Last time I didn't, I think, stress that out, but I should start because this is portfolio 4. In portfolio 4, 5, 6, and 7, all students of animation are sending their stuff on SyncSketch. So you make playlist like this, and then you import in a SyncSketch, and then you posted it. And there is a special place where to post it. So if you follow on FSO instructions, you will get to the point where it says that there is actually like a form that you're supposed to fill up. Once when you fill up that form, your playlist would end up here. Let me show you. Where is my... Okay, so that's... All right, so the submission form, if I click on my submission form, there is a, really, a lot of students posting every month, right? So this is collection of all students. Now, here, if you would post, for example, today, your name would pop up here, right? Just like the other students. And if I go and click on this link here, that is their playlist. And then here on the right side, it's a Maya file, or it can be maybe some kind of drawings that you would like to post, like storyboards or thumbnails, or your some video that you are following as a reference or something. Because usually it's good to have reference, and it's also good to show me or any other instructor reference so that I can or we can see what you're going for, right? But what I'm trying to say here to show you is, if you would post just like this student here, if I just go here and click on it, what's happened is that it opens in that SyncSketch. So your playlist would open in SyncSketch. Why is this good? It's good because I can, like, first, of course, I can scrub it just like I can scrub on your playlist, but I can also draw. You see, that's the biggest, I would say, a plus for this one, because, I can, after I see something that your pose is not correct, or maybe your pose can look better than this, I can, I can just choose a different color or whatever I want to do, and I can draw. Now I draw with my mouse. That's why it doesn't look so well. Otherwise, if I would really draw, I would use my pen and also my pad. So the drawings are more decent when I draw for real. Now I'm just showing you, how this works. So it's not just that it's helping me to give you better critiques, but also it would help you, because it would be easier, I think, and more understanding, because on your playlist I can only talk. I cannot really show you what I really mean. All right, so enough of that. But what I'm trying to say also, I can even animate loosely something, and so you can see what you're supposed to do with your Maya, So if I just go now, you see, boom, 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 and then he starts falling down. As you can see, you can have lots of fun by animating. So there is animation. Boom, 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 boom. Let's say he slips on the ice, right? Poof. Da. There you see, that's the reason why Sing Sketch works for us when we are critiquing, because we can really help with such a things as reanimating a bit if that's needed. All right, so let's go back to your stuff. There you go. Okay, so well, I mean, it works quite well. I mean, I can see those problems that you are mentioning, and we'll try to address that. But overall, I think it works quite well. I don't think it's gonna be too much actually problems to fix it. Um, so let's start somewhere. You said a small guy, right? Okay. I can see that he is, at least that's my interpretation, that he is kind of like a banging boom, boom, with the axe on his shield. Now, because there is no soundtrack for that, it can be maybe distracting for somebody who is seeing it for first time. So I don't know if you should actually keep it, or maybe it would be just simpler if he just continues, walking with his axe, just like he starts with it. That I mean, I kind of like it, but if there is a sound effect of it, that would probably fit well. But without it, it might be like, what is he doing? Is maybe just rotations are not working well, so it looks like he's doing something that the animator is not in control of. Just be aware of that. I'm not gonna say you should do one thing or the other, but it's really up to you. Another thing, when they are walking, when this guy puts his foot down, this is a contact pose. From this pose to the to foot to be on the flat on the ground, only one in between it's needed. If it's more, then it becomes a kind of slow moving. So the foot has to have different timing than the body. So if you have on the contact, toes up, and on the next one, on the down pose, the toes are down with a flat foot, then toes are going down at the same speed as the whole body kind of goes down to the down pose. We don't want that. So we want first this foot to be flat as soon as possible, kind of like with the one in between. And then body still goes down. It's kind of like overlap on the body. So feet, they have to go down faster. And I didn't check on all both characters, but I noticed that. So I assume that on all feet, the same problem is appearing. Then we go here. As he is lifting his foot up, this knee is strangely pointed this way. It should be pointed more towards us here, because from here he goes, I don't know, maybe it's better here. From here he goes, huge move. You see that, how he moves a lot of that knee So there is no need for that. So after here, after being down, this even down pose has to be, this knee has to be here, more like that, and then switching. Even here, probably he can be maybe a little bit more towards the that side. I wouldn't maybe even go inside. Maybe I would. Well, maybe I would. I don't know, because his hips are already turned towards the this side. So that I think that would work better if you just pull this knee over here. That would, I think, solve the problem here. I think also as he is lifting his leg, you are also rotating basically on the wrong side, because that hip's supposed to go down. And as you are rotating this hip up, you're also rotating whole body towards the right side. That shouldn't really happen, because if you look his body and head, there was no reason for him to go forward here. He should stay with his head somewhere here, you know, with the torso moving back. You see what I'm talking about? Contact, and then from contact the foot goes slowly down with a 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, 4, 5 in betweens, just like as a body is going down. So this foot has to get down very fast with one in between. And then we have that problem, right? Timing wise, and a little bit, not just timing, but a little bit with some maybe posing. But when I look at this, I think this is good pose for him. You know, he looks fine here. Also, I think as he's going back, I think you should keep this arc on his back as he's going back for anticipation. I think he should be still having that arc opposite, and then from here, you know, he can go to this arc. That would be fine. But when I'm looking at the hand here, it looks a little bit funky. It looks broken. So we'll go a little bit in the Maya. And I remember I told you to stretch this arm, but the way how you did it's a little bit unnatural. So we should still see a little bit of the elbow bend, and this hand should be actually on opposite side. What you were talking about getting slower, right? It's yes, I completely agree with you, because I'm glad actually that you feel that he should be a little bit slower here before blow. But I cannot just out of my hat come up with a perfect solution for this, because there is a trial and error thing that you will have to go through. You will have to play a bit with it, and I think actually the biggest problem, not really problem, but issue that you would like to solve is probably somewhere here from this him waiting, going in anticipation, and then till blow. Not even this part works, I would say, just up to that point here, and then the blow kind of works. Um, Again, you didn't do one of the things, or contact, or reaction of the big guy when the blow happens. So that's another thing you'll have to do. This feet can look a little bit funky, kind of cramped when they're supposed to go forward, but they are still in a horizontal mode. So at this point, it would be nicer actually if his toes are completely down, heel up, and then toes down. You know, and then here they land. When he stabbed him, you did something with his arms and legs, but you could do it actually more. And you know, yeah, this coming up and maybe staying a bit up, all things, and even rotating head towards the sword. Because if you try to, I know that we don't have experience with the killing people, but you know, if you try to even imagine some having a pin or something and stabbing some bug, all those legs would come kind of. I can imagine. I really never did it because I like animals and all kind of stuff. So, but I'm just trying to imagine if you would stab it, all those legs would kind of like a cramp, and then for a moment they would be like that, and then when you pull out the pin, then they would kind of like relax. So it wouldn't be relaxing right away. So in this case, as he is, you know, holding this sword in him, those maybe he can even, this guy on the floor, maybe he can even grab his sword with both hands, you know, kind of trying to stop him or whatever, and our legs could be up, and then as he starts pulling sword out, those arms and legs, they fall on each side in different timing, not exactly at the same time. So that would definitely, I think, help. Also be careful when he is pulling this sword. This shouldn't go back and forth here on the exit wound. It should be kind of at the same place, even if it's needed to be keyed on each frame. And then as he goes up, that's fine. He pulls it. The tip is down because it's heavy sword. That's good. But once when he gets it up, I wouldn't stop here. I would actually go with the sword all the way up here. So in his wrist, rotate his wrist so that sword is pointing kind of back. I think that would look better, because right now, you see the shield is this way, and the sword is also that way. And I think it would be nicer if they confront each other, if you have a shield just as you have it, and then by rotation of this hand, the shield would go in opposite direction, so you would have these things kind of going against each other. It's going to look graphically better. All right, so I also understand now what you were asking me, that you have a problems here with shield. Something is happening, right? And also I can see that something is happening with the other hand with the sword. Something here, right? So how to fix it? Let me open your Maya. I don't know what is this blue line when I open Maya. That's really unfortunate. I'm not gonna close Maya down and start again because it's gonna take too long. So I guess we'll have to deal with it somehow. Oh, crap. All right, we'll have to deal with that. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look. So this guy, so that's a frame 29. Look at that, frame 29. 29, 30, yes, still 30, and then 31 is okay. So 2 frames, we have here problem with 2 frames, 29 and 30. Well, what I'm gonna do is, oh, okay, let's take a look at the other problem, right? With this other arm. As I was playing with it, I think actually I fixed it, and now actually is working, because I remember he was kind of stabbing himself with that sword, and he is not doing that anymore. So I guess that's good, right? Okay, I'll show you how I fix this one by showing you how you can, by fixing this one. Okay, so once again we have a problem on 29 and 30. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select his arm, I mean, you know, this control for the arm, and then I'm gonna go in graph editor. If you look here in graph editor, we have a, you know, something is happening, obviously, you see, something is happening. And if you just go in and try to wiggle those things, you might try and you might actually fix it up to the point, but it's really much harder than the other way. And what is the other way? Here in graph editor you have curves, you know, go to curves, click on it, and then go to Euler filter. Euler filter, if you click on it, boom, you see this suddenly become a normal graph. And if you would look now at his problem, I assume there is no problem anymore. because it was, you remember, on 29 and 30, 27, 28, 29, 30. You see, everything works with a simple thing, Euler filter. Pum, 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 pum. Done. Was that simple or what? There you go. And that's how I actually fixed your sword on the other hand. So just select his control, this one, go to Euler filter in curves, and that should take care of it. He might be moving a little bit too much, because if I remember here, this going back and forth is a little bit too fast. You see that? So if you can simplify that. So he's going here, hold it for a longer, and then if he goes forward, keep it forward, don't go back and then forward again. So keep it back and then go slower forward and keep it forward. So there is no need for going back for second time. The problem also here with this playblast is that I cannot tell you exactly on which frame we are now. You know, if you're in Sync Sketch, I could tell you exactly on frame that problem is. So that's why Sync Sketch is much better than just plain playblast. So yes, I can see some weird stuff going with the sword. Yes, I think that's gonna be solved by Euler filter. All right, so let's get here. You definitely don't need that frame before this one. You can take that one out. You know, from here to there, that should be, you know, okay, because it really has to be fast. But this is a contact, and we don't see that. Like first, this X should really hit the shield, and then right after that, the shield should go back a bit with a guy, you know, anticipating that blow. That's why right now we don't feel that actually he really hit him, because it just goes. So this X at this point should be in a contact with him. And then maybe frame before, this one, maybe he can have this one a little bit higher with a body a little bit forward. And this X would hit. You see now? So contact, I just created contact and then absorption of the blow. And then this happens, right? Now let's talk about this smaller guy here. When he goes from this standing pose, maybe because all this part is too slow, right? Maybe you can keep him in this position just a bit lower so that when he starts moving, it's not gonna be slow. You know, you can have a less frames. But when he goes forward, contact, and then after contact, usually we have down pose. We just don't go up. So that kind of looks a little bit maybe funky right now. Maybe, like I said, this is all about trial and error. So maybe after this one, before he goes to 166, maybe on this one he actually goes to down pose again. So I'm pulling all these bodies a little bit back. So at contact, he's completely stretched leg forward. He goes down and then up, and then for hit. Now also, there is no reason, I mean the reason that the X at this point, I guess, should be okay like that. But here, this X should be kind of pointing back. And also, this elbow, I mean, probably shouldn't be completely stretched. It should be maybe like this, and this elbow should be forward. Where is the elbow control? I guess. Yeah, so like this. Yeah, that works better. Now this one, the same thing. We have to pull it back. So maybe here when he starts moving, he maybe doesn't have to have stretched arm right away so much. And also don't forget, when his body moves towards the left, there should be overlap on the hand, so the hand wouldn't be moving at the same as the body, right? So maybe like that, and then the hand goes a bit further once when the body stops. No, as the body goes forward, the X should go maybe back. Yeah. And now when he goes forward, the X yeah, that looks, I would say, okay. Maybe rotating a bit back because it's heavy. So should always look for the arc, right? Where the X goes. This elbow is strange here. We have to push that elbow forward. That. I'm leaning back the X all the time because it's heavy, right? So as his arm is going forward with the X, but still that heavy part of the X is kind of holding back. Let's see how that looks. Well, I think X is kind of working fine. I will just maybe erase a bit here. Boom. You know, you have to think of that follow through on the end of the X, you know. Boom. Something like that. See, so now we have a contact here, boom, and a absorption of that below, and then this guy pushes forward and goes for his smack. So also, so this one should be blow, right? That should be contact. And then next one, absorption. This, when he goes forward with this leg, you have a one pose and then very next one where both feet are in the air. I mean, toes are in the air and the heel is down. Only one should be. So as he makes contact on very next one here, it should be already flat. 172 should be flat. And then after that, as he goes flat down, this looks a little bit painful. I think that should go a bit up like that in order to kind of accommodate him. And then after that, of course, he goes back flat too, as his body goes back. When he lifts his sword here at the end, like I said, his sword should go back, but also he can lift his head and kind of look for approval, you know, around. Of course, moving torso from the hip, all upper part. You know, like he's a big victor here, and you know, he's looking for the applause or whatever from the audience. That would be, I think, something nice. And well, now I don't know exactly what to talk about anymore. If you have a problem, once when you start working on it, you can, you know, send me email or something. But I think I went over most of the stuff that was bothering you and what you asked me in your email. So I think that's kind of covers all of it. Now, once again, I think biggest issue is gonna be here, where maybe or to hold him a little bit longer in this hold uh, to have a faster this action, so it's not so slow, and then, you know, if it's possible, in order to have him here longer in this pose before blow, would be okay if he somehow managed to put his foot down. Then he would be in balanced pose. It's maybe a little bit unusual that he would be for too long here when he's only on one leg and the other one is kind of passing, but I think it can take it to a certain point, the slowing down, it can take it, and then blow. So another thing is where you can actually lose the time so that doesn't look so mushy and slow is maybe he makes, instead of this one big step, maybe he first steps 1 foot shorter than that. So first he steps, instead of there, he steps here, and then with this one comes closer, and then this one goes to this, you know, so like a little 2 small steps before this, instead of this big one. And then from there, you know, you can go, yeah, forward. So so I push that one down, right? And it might look better instead of just kind of floating from here to that up pose. So down again might actually help. You see how big space is now between this X and that one. And that's good. So I used that pose that was here and I made a contact with it. All right, so I really have to stop, otherwise this is gonna be like a 1 hour movie, and I don't want you to fall asleep while you're listening to me. So I hope I answer your questions, and maybe for next time you can send me in that sync sketch. If you go on FSO, follow the instructions, and I think it's not a big deal to post it with a sync sketch or play blast. All right. Otherwise, I think the project actually looks pretty good. It can look even better once when you get rid of those pesky problems. And well, that's it. Good work. Thank you very much.